The house was 7 to 3. Show that as a proportion and cross multiply to get this right here. All right, the next thing, 3 times the number of house was 40 less than twice the number of what's. How many were what's? Well, you have 2 equations right now. So out of these 2 equations right there, you do elimination or substitution. Which do you prefer? Ooh, substitute. Okay, if you substitute, you're going to have fractions involved. Is that okay? No, you don't like that choice then, right? Now you're thinking something else. So if we don't substitute, then we want to eliminate. So we want the W's and the H's on the same side and in the same order. So are you going to move this W over? Do you want it first or second term? Second. So you get 3H. When you move it over, that becomes minus 2W equals negative 40. That means I want to move this H over. I'm going to put it in front. So what's that equation going to become? Negative 7H plus 3W equals what? 0. So to eliminate, what do you want to do? I'd take the top one times 3 and the bottom one times 2. I'm going to come this way with it. So that gives you 9H minus 6W equals negative 120. The bottom equation is negative 14H plus 6W equals 0 times 2 is 0. Don't miss that one. People usually try to put a number there. Now the W's cancel, and you get negative 5H equals negative 120. And when you divide by negative 5, how many hows are there? 24. So how many what's are there? I don't care. I would probably, if it were me, I'd probably put it in right here. So if I put it in right there, I know that the hows are 24. You could cross multiply or divide, or it's a scale factor of 8, which gives you how many? What's 56. Oh, I might have something wrong. I don't know. We'll look at it. I'll do it. Okay, I'm going to erase this now. 9. All right, let me find 9. I very well could have messed up. Oh, is this one where the very first thing you find X should be negative and I have it as positive or something? And I have it as negative. I have the sign wrong on one of these. And I'm just as bad as Mr. Williams with his, oops. Darn, one click is going to move it too far. Okay, what did you do? I'll just see if you're correct with what you did. The top 2? Okay, so let's work with the top 2. If I work with the top 2, the Z's automatically eliminate. So is it okay if I just think of drawing that line right there, and you're going to get 5X plus 2Y equals 7. Do you agree with that? Okay, so then what's the next thing you did? So now we're going to work with these 2. I'm going to draw my line, and I'm just going to do it visually right there to save some room. Is that all right? So 2X plus X is 3X, and then you get 4Y equals 7. You agree so far? Then what did you do from there? Negative 2. Negative 2, so you get negative 10X minus 4Y equals negative 14, and 3X plus 4Y equals 7. So you get negative 7x equals negative 7. So x should be equal to 1. Do I have it as negative 1? Of course, then it throws everything else off. My bad. So x is 1. We need to find y or z. What did you do with that? Put one back into one of the blue or the red equations. All right, if I put it in there, which one did you pick? The red one. If I pick the red one, it's 3 times x, which is 1 plus 4y equals 7. So you're going to subtract 3. 4 is equal to 4y. So y should be equal to 1. Do you agree with that? So y is 1. And now I got to find z. I would pick this equation right here. So I know that 1 plus 1 plus z equals 1. So what is z? Negative 1. Yes, sorry about that. And then that's not writing right there, so. All right, another one. Number 10. Okay, so number 10 says two 12-sided polygons are similar. What do you know about similar figures? They're proportional to each other by a certain scale factor, right? A side of a larger polygon is 3 times as long as the corresponding side of the smaller polygon. So what is the ratio between them? 3/1. And that 3/1 is in the ratio of large to small, correct? So if I said small to large, it'd be 1 to 3. But what is the ratio of the area of the larger polygon to the area of the smaller polygon? What do you do to find area? We don't know what type of a polygon it is, do we? We do know, sorry, it's a 12-sided polygon. It's a dodecagon. How are you going to find the area of a dodecagon? You're going to split it into 12 triangles, and you're going to find the area of each one, like one single triangle, and take it times 12. Well, it doesn't say it's regular, but we're going to assume it's regular. What do you do? If you're finding area, what do you know about units for area? They're squared. So all I got to do is take that and square it. So you get 9/1. Think of it this way. If it were a circle, it would be pi r squared over pi r squared. What happens to this? They cancel. That's the only varying factor. If it were a square, just say, because a circle is not a polygon, okay? But if this were 1x, L, okay, x, and this was 1y, then the other one is 3, oh, this has got to be 3 times as much. So look at my drawing to make it equal. You look at it, how do you find the area there? What's the area there? 1xy. What's the area here? 9xy. So if you look at the ratio of the small one to, or the large one to the small one, these cancel and you are 9/1. Square that scale factor or that ratio between them. What are you gonna do? I don't know why that's spinning, but another question? That one? What do you do when you get a figure like this? Set cross products equal. So what you have is you have 3x minus 1 over 12 is equal to x plus 11 over 21. So you cross multiply 21 times 3x minus 1 equals, cross multiply 12 times x plus 11. 21 times 3, 63x minus 21 is equal to 12x plus 1, 32. Can you go from there? Okay. Do I need to go from there? X is equal to 3. Next. Is that what it is? Up here it looks pretty blurry. I think that's right. It's pretty small font. I think that's a 3 right there from where I'm standing. Looks like it. All right. What happens with those right there? And right there. They're the denominator. It's your roots. So it creates a fractional exponent. So the numerator could be x to the 6th over 3, y to the 3rd over 3, and then the -1 and the y to the 2nd. Those are not underneath that root sign. In the denominator, this is understood to be a what? 2. This is the same thing right here, is just x cubed, y cubed. Are we okay with that? Maybe I would probably just change that to x cubed, y cubed. Now you're taking the square root, so you get x to the 4 over 2, y to the 2 over 2, x to the 3 over 2, and y to the 3 over 2. Simplify the numerator. X squared, y to the 1st, x to the -1st, y squared. The denominator, 4 over 2 is the same thing as just x squared, y to the 1st, x to the 3 halves, and y to the 3 halves. I'm going to still simplify the numerator. What do? Those exponents. By doing what operation? Addition. So if I add the exponents, you just get x to the 1st, y to the 3rd. In the denominator, what are you going to get? Seven halves, 2 and 3 halves. So 2 and 3 halves is an improper fraction, is 4 plus 3, 7 halves. Y to what power? 5 halves. Now that you have the numerator simplified, the denominator simplified, what do? I would move it up, which changes the sign of the exponent. So your answer, you're going to take 1 and subtract 7 halves, which gives you -5 halves. And y, you're going to take 3 and subtract 5 halves, which gives you 1/2. Number 20, find the surface area of a right circular cone whose slant height is 9 inches and whose base has a radius of 3 inches. So we don't have a picture, so So we're going to create a picture here. The slant height is 9. Good thing you got Kleenexes. The radius of the base is 3. And what we need to find is the surface area. How do you find surface area of a right cone? Yep, area of the base, pi r squared, plus, what is the formula for lateral surface area of a right circular cone? Pi r, do you have L or S? Pi r L. One book does pi r L, and the other book does pi r S, which, yes, L or S stands for slant height. So you're going to have pi times 3 squared plus pi, the radius is 3, and your slant height is given to you as 9. 3 squared is 9, so you have 9 pi plus 27 pi. You add those together and you get 33 pi. Units? I don't know. No, try again. 36. Mental math calculation error. Is 36 better? Inches squared. It's all right. I'm glad it wasn't 33 because it wasn't writing in that spot on my board anyway. Knowing that formula. This I didn't put on your test. But I sent you a Schoology message, and I sent it to everybody in the class about something I would know. You don't have to do a proof, but there is something you have to know. I already asked you that question today. That's one of them. There's two questions I asked you at the beginning of class. You answered them both. What is it? Yes, what are the 4 congruency postulates, or ways to prove triangles congruent? Side, 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 angle, side, angle, 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 side, hypotenuse, leg. What does CPCTC stand for? Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, and you have to have congruent triangles before you ever use CPCTC. Would you like me to write it? CPCTC. Corresponding parts, congruent triangles are what? Congruent. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent.
Would you want all the ways you can define a triangle, or like prove that they're similar?
Yes. Known as the congruency postulates, or ways you can prove triangles are congruent to each other. There should be 4 of them. Do not put down ASS because angle side side is not one of them. All right, question on 19. Did you draw your 2 triangles? In the large triangle, this is A, this is B plus C, and the bottom is 6. In the small triangle, we have C, 3, 4. Right away, can you just glance at that and tell me what C is going to be? 5. It's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So I know that C is going to be equal to 5. Oh, not as easy, but can we find out what A is? Right here's the proportion right there. It's not a nice whole number scale factor. So you have A over 6 is equal to 3 over 4. Cross multiply, divide. And what is A equal to? 9/2. Now I would do this. I would say you got these parallel, I thought I clicked it to red. I would say you have these parallel lines right here, cut by 2 transversals. And C had this value of 5. This is 4. This is 2. How do you find B? Cross multiply and divide. So you're going to take 2 times 5 and divide by 4. So when you do that, you end up with 5 house.
I do know the difference.